Welcome to Computer Science Education Week. My name is Brian Stewart and I work for the Montgomery County Educational Service Center. We're really excited to bring to you a panel of computer science and IT local people who work in this industry and work in these career fields. So I'm going to throw it to Kaitlin from Technology First. She's going to be our moderator today. And let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Take it away, Kaitlin.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, too. We appreciate you taking time out of your day to learn a little bit more about careers in IT. All of us here on this call are very passionate about the IT field and are eager and excited to share a little bit more about our careers with you. Before we go to the panel to hear from these awesome individuals, just wanted to share a little definition of what IT is. Information technology is the use of computers to create, process, store, retrieve, and exchange all kinds of electronic data and information. So when you think about IT, you're thinking about anywhere from the hardware and the software that you see. You can think about your Xbox. You can look at it. You can touch it. Somebody built and designed that. And the inside, you have all these hardware components, the circuit board, everything that runs it. And then somebody sat there and coded that and designed the video game. And so all these aspects that go into making an Xbox, these are all the different kinds of IT fields that there are. And so some of them that we're going to touch on today are both entry level and later on IT fields. With IT, you are constantly learning. Technology is constantly changing. You all know that new devices are coming out. New software is coming out. We're adjusting to the way the world is. Right now we're on Zoom. We would be in person. Zoom had to adjust and adapt. They did it the fastest. They were successful. So that's something to just keep in mind. It's a great field for lifelong learners, and it's something that is always changing and kind of keeps things interesting for you. You're not doing the same thing over and over. You get to adapt and evolve with technology. So again, thank you all for being here. And one more thing I wanted to mention before we go. As you know, with other fields in industries that you can have careers in, healthcare, for example, you work in a hospital or in the doctor's office, everything like that. With IT, we're actually in every single industry. So there's IT people supporting hospitals. There's IT people supporting a city and a municipality. There's IT people supporting manufacturing. The jobs are endless. You can work literally anywhere. Every business depends on technology. So as we introduce these panelists, you'll see what kind of businesses they work for and what kind of functions they have, and hear a little bit more about what they do and how they got to where they are. So we are going to take turns going, and I'm actually going to start with Waldo. And we're going to have each of you introduce yourself just a little bit about what your position is and what you do, and we'll go from there. So Waldo, you're up first.
Cool. Thank you, Kaitlin, for that introduction, and thank you everyone for having me today. It's good to be here. And yeah, I'll start with my name. My name's Waldo. I'm a software developer, a lot like Spider-Man. I like to say I'm a web developer. We're both web developers. I work for a company called Klarna, which you may or may not have heard of, and I work on the next generation of ads. So I can kind of defer to other people first and then kind of go back to that later to give you more context about what I'm actually doing on a day-to-day basis. So that is me.
Awesome. We'll go to Kyle.
Hi, my name is Kyle, and I'm a Tier 2 technician for Optimize IT. We're a managed service provider, and we have a wide range of clients that we manage. And I do anything from managing backups to supporting software, hardware, and the end users themselves.
Great. And Logan?
Hey there, my name is Logan. I work at CareSource here in Dayton. We're a managed care provider for Medicaid, so we work through government contracts primarily. I work in cybersecurity, so my primary role is just to all things that involve keeping our data safe and the data of our members.
Very good. A lot of times when people think of cybersecurity, they think of hackers in people's basements with their black hoods up and they're getting the Bitcoin and all of that. So I'm sure people are excited to hear a little bit more about cyber. Speaking of, we'll have you actually go again, Logan. Describe a typical day in your position. And I'll preface this that I have a feeling every day is very different.
Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah, it's hard to even describe what a typical day is for my job. We're a really small security team, so we do a pretty wide range of things. I guess what you could consider to be our primary thing would just be detecting when bad things happen. So be that a phishing email or we see something suspicious happen on someone's workstation. Whatever it is, we investigate anything like that occurs. I also work on automating some of the response to that sort of thing, which is another facet of our job, and working on creating the searches that generate those alerts to begin with. So those are some of the main things we do on a day-to-day basis.
Gotcha. Thank you. Kyle, what is your typical day like?
Again, typical day here could be a wide range of things. We do end user support. We're always working on software support, hardware support. It could be in the office, taking care of end user needs, whether that's a password reset or a software upgrade, or we could be doing hardware upgrades, whether it's a workstation or a server upgrade on site at the client site. We do take care of backups as well, which is something that we manage daily. And like I said, it could be a wide range of things, and you never know what's going to happen until you're there for the day.
Yeah, a lot of people say that IT support is a lot of break fix. So you're kind of hearing what's going wrong and how you can fix it.
That's right.
Lots of problem solving skills there, which is a huge thing in all fields, but especially IT. It's great. And Waldo, what is a typical day like for you?
Yeah, so very much akin to what everyone else has sort of said. It's very different on a daily basis. I say the word that comes to mind is like a day is pretty flexible for me. Like if I have a doctor's appointment, I can go and do that during the day. Or if I want to go play golf during the afternoon, I could go and do that and get my work done later in the evening as well. As for what I do during work hours, or what I'm actually working on, is web development. We're building ads. So we are we're leveraging machine learning and AI technology to look at current fashion trends and piece together entire cohesive looks. And then we are displaying those looks in the browser in the client, and showing that for the less stylish people, hey, here's your entire outfit, just buy this. And so my job is integrating that information, that data into the client, and giving you guys providing a good user experience so that you can check out from various retail partners, because the shirt might be from H&M or Banana Republic, and the shoes might be from Adidas. So you can click whatever you want and check out all in one tap, and under the hood, that's multiple transactions to multiple retail partners happening simultaneously. And that's all through Klarna, and which offers flexible payments, buy now, pay later. That's kind of how their claim to fame. So that's what I'm working on, and it's it's different every day. We're doing a lot of stuff, and the nature of web development is changing every single day, as Kaitlin has already said. It's a field of continuous learning. So
yeah, that is actually something newer that I've even heard of, is somebody online being there to analyze all your data, what your interests are, what your style could be even, and offer you an outfit idea.
Yeah, and it's based off of the data on the page. So we have publisher partners and retail partners, and we look at what kind of article you're looking at. If it's an article about tennis, we might show you tennis outfits. If it's an article about prom or anything else, we'll take your data and show you stuff you want to see. And it sounds kind of scary. It sounds like we could be doing nefarious things with that, but it is a bank, so there's a lot of compliance issues with how we handle your data, and we try and do a responsible job. We try and be responsible with all that data. And at the end of the day, we're just trying to provide our retail partners a more conversions. We're trying to, because we share revenue with them, so we want to show you guys ads that you want to see. and save you time from shopping online. So that's kind of the job, and publishers get more ad revenue. So it's kind of a win-win-win scenario. Everyone walks away happy.
For sure. That also reminds me, just kind of general IT life, is technology's main role is making everybody else's lives easier. And so people come up with these like problems and solutions, and technology is such an enabler. And that's got to feel really cool to be working on innovative projects and things that aren't done before, things that are new. That's an awesome thing about being involved in technology and being able to be part of the problem solving and whatnot. That's very cool. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
Next, I'm kind of curious. So, all of you have different paths that got you to where you are right now. What do you wish you had known about IT and wish others knew? I mean, as we've grown, IT's become more and more relevant and important. The job opportunities have grown, so more people are getting into it. But what's something that you wish you would have known and the others? We'll go to Kyle first.
Yeah, I wish I would have known just how many opportunities there are in IT. There are so many facets to this field. There are so many ways where you can get involved, and there are things that you can learn that are going to take you to different areas of IT just by gaining experience.
That's great. Thank you. What about you, Logan?
Yep, I was going to say essentially the same thing. I think what I wish I had known was just how broad IT was as a field. I think I was a little apprehensive at first about moving into IT because I have hobbies that revolve around computers. And so there's that worry about taking something that's a hobby and like ruining it by turning it into a career. But that turned out just to not be the case at all, because there's so many different things you can do with technology. Even just within security specifically, as you go to bigger and bigger companies, there's so many facets of just security that you can focus on. And I think that's something that's really great about this field.
Absolutely. Waldo?
Yeah, it's a very diverse field, and there's room for pretty much everyone in the industry, I think. And it's an interesting question because, like, my mom was a software developer. She was a programmer, so I kind of grew up with a pretty good idea of what it means to be a software developer. Like going to her office after school and playing Pokemon games, and and like, as I got older, and like seeing her in meetings and remote meetings, I kind of had that in the background. And as I got older, I kind of helped her test some of the stuff she was working on. So I had a good idea of what it meant to be a developer getting into it. I never at any point wanted to be that. So I kind of want to rephrase the question a little bit and say what I think or what I wish other people knew about this job. And that's just like, I think the most important thing is like, it doesn't take a genius. Many people have said this already. It's just about, like having a good attitude, being nice, and being eager to learn stuff. And if you're happy to do those things, and if you like building stuff and thinking logically, it'll come very naturally to you.
Definitely. Some of your answers were actually kind of making me think of like job security, which might not be on a high schooler's mind or a middle schooler's mind. It's something that's important to think about when you're entering and deciding on what career you want to get into. You want to make sure that there's going to be opportunities for you, and that when you spend time training for and studying for whatever path you do to get into what you're doing, knowing that there are so many opportunities definitely feels nice. And like, I think what Kyle and Logan said, having all these opportunities kind of helps you. You could, for example, go into one part of IT because you thought, oh, I'm really interested in this. I'm going to start going this way in IT. And then maybe find out, oh, you know what, this isn't the perfect match. There's actually this really cool thing over here. It's really easy to then, get new certifications and switch over and take different journeys in technology, which is really nice to think about for sure. Thank you all for sharing that. So I guess what that has me then thinking about is maybe if you could share what you love about your job. and what makes IT tech jobs special. We heard Waldo say that he can play golf in the middle of the day if he wants to and finish his work later, which is anyone's dream. And a really cool thing about being in technology is a lot of jobs are flexible like that, versus like being, for example, a teacher and having to be there all day long and make sure you're with your class and whatnot. A lot of flexibility there. So that's just one thought. But what do you love about your job and what makes IT jobs special? We're going to go to Logan first.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to love about working in IT. I think if you're the kind of person that likes to continually be learning new things and new technologies, then whether you're in security or you're in an IT infrastructure kind of field or developer, whatever it is, technology changes constantly and there's always new things to be learning. And to me, that's really appealing. I love the ability to learn new things. And Kaitlin also mentioned earlier that it's easy to move from different roles within IT. So I started out as in desktop support, and then I moved up to our server team, and then I moved to security after that. And even though they're all very different fields in their own ways, there's also a lot of transferable skill there. So it's the depth of knowledge of each little facet of IT is so deep that it's really, really interesting and never a dull moment, really.
We love that. How about you, Kyle?
Yeah, just to reiterate a little bit, there's always something new to learn. So I started this career 12 years ago. The path that I've taken, there's always been something new. I mean, almost daily to learn. And a lot of it does transfer over. So as you go throughout your career, you're not stuck in a rut doing the same thing over and over again. It's always something different.
Thank you. Waldo, what do you love about IT?
Yeah, no, great answers by Kyle and Logan, and I can't agree more. It's but I say what I love about myself is it's a very complicated, it's a broad answer because there's so much I love about this job. I mean, number one is a comfortable lifestyle it affords me, like, because let's be real, if we're all doing this for money, but you are afforded a very comfortable lifestyle. You're compensated very well for this, good benefits and so on. So that's really nice. Being able to take a vacation when you want, buy a house, take care of your family. That's amazing. And I joked earlier about being a superhero like Spider-Man, but it does feel like that sometimes. Like I have a superpower in my pocket. Like if I go out into the world and I say and I see something that isn't very efficient, or I'm like, man, I had to submit this form by paper and it just took forever. I could just build an app to do this automatically. I can go home and I can build that. It's a little bit complicated, a little bit more involved to it than that, but you have the ability or the superpower to build stuff and put it out into the world in front of a large audience, which through the internet, and it could have far-reaching implications. So it's really cool to be able to do something like that.
I love it. Thank you. We talked a lot about what you're enjoying in IT and that you're all happy to be in this industry. And we haven't talked much about how you got here. So that's probably on some people's minds. It's kind of like, how did you know that you might want to go into this? Did you have a winding road? So many people do have winding roads. Some people just know, like Waldo said, his mom's a developer. Maybe he just went right in. We can find out from him in a second. But my question is going to be, how did you get into your careers in IT? And something that is always of interest too, perhaps you can share, IT, you don't have to necessarily go and immediately get a 4-year degree. We have a lot of people that actually get hired and then their company will pay to train them. We have people that do an associate's or start boot camps or get certifications, and that actually gets their foot in the door. And then the company will actually pay for them to keep training. Since IT is so in demand and they need people so badly that they're willing to do that. But just something to think about too is you don't have to necessarily go straight into college or straight into this or that. So if you could perhaps share a little bit about that part of your journey as well, that would be awesome. We are going to go to Quellhorst.
Yeah, so when I was younger, I remember when we got our first computer, I remember just diving into every aspect of the software and the hardware. And I remember gaming on that computer, and the games then were much different than they are now. That led me into a career in retail where I worked for a company that also did computer repair. So I started doing computer repair with them. Transition from that to a help desk role in-house at a hospital, and worked there on third shift is how I got my foot in the door. Transitioned to day shift, and eventually to a support role there, and then came to Optimize, where I am now as a tier 2 technician. And every day have just try my best to learn as much as I can, because I don't know where this path is going to take me.
Thank you. Did you say whether or not you just entered into the field and kind of grew as you went on, or if you had formal education?
Yeah, it's all based on hands-on experience with me. Just the interest that came when I was a child that transitioned into, more of a break-fix role is where I got my start. And everything that I've learned from on-the-job experience, and just from my own interest outside of work as well.
That's awesome. Fun way that following your passions and interests can really help get you to where you need to be. That's great. Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.
Waldo, how did you, what's your journey? How did you get into IT?
Yeah, IT is definitely an industry that embraces the irregular career path. And for me, it was like a lot like I was in college studying something completely different, biochemistry and genetics. And towards my senior year, I got burnt out and took a sabbatical, went overseas for a little bit. That gap year turned into like nearly 2 years. When I came back, I was just ready to start working. I had aims of going to medical school, and I just I didn't really want to go back to school for like 10 years. So I had this internship opportunity crop up here in Ohio. So I came up to Ohio for a 3-week internship from Texas. And I just started, learning how to write code. And my upbringing helped a lot, being, on the computer a lot, playing video games, and having my mom as a programmer give me a good idea of what the industry was like. That was really beneficial to me. And yeah, that was about 5 years ago. So that 3-week internship turned into a full-time position and my career, and been loving it ever since.
I love that. Internships are so important. Getting that hands-on experience and getting that exposure, that actually helped me kind of figure out where I wanted to go in my career too. I thought maybe I wanted one way, and then I started doing an internship, and I thought, you know what, I actually don't know that I want to do this every day. And it actually opened my eyes a little more. And all internship experience is transferable, really. Getting out in the workforce and seeing what that's like can really apply to anything. So that's really cool.
No, for sure.
I'm a little jealous of your 2-year stint overseas though. So
I got pretty lucky with that. And I think one more thing I'd like to add is, like, I'm super thankful for the internship opportunity here. Like that was absolutely life-changing. And I just want to reiterate, like, I'm a college dropout. Like, I never went back and finished college. It wouldn't make sense to go back and finish like a biology degree. And I just taught myself how to do this stuff with the support of a lot of smart and nice people in the internship I was afforded. So there's a lot of online resources. You guys can start learning this stuff now too.
That is true. You can definitely start learning coding or just general IT right now. YouTube, great resource.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Logan, what has your career path been?
Yeah, so it's weirdly similar to Waldo's. I have a completely unrelated degree. I've got a bachelor's in biology and an associate's in clinical lab science. I wanted to do research, but was having a hard time finding anything that I really liked, or anything that paid well enough to But in the meantime, I was working as an intern or as a temp at CareSource in the mailroom, and they had an IT opening that popped up, and I was reading it. And I've been interested in computers from a young age, but didn't ever think I wanted to do it as a career. Since the days of the fun dial-up noises that most of the students on the call don't remember, I've been into computers, and I saw the posting and applied to it, and that was how I got my start in IT. Is just kind of started in the mailroom here, and my manager recommended me for the position, and I was able to kind of just work my way up from there. So I don't have any formal education in IT, but I've done training through work and everything. But yeah, interesting that we've got a biochem and a biology person here. Waldo and I could probably have interesting conversations about that.
Yeah, and we both worked at CareSource.
Oh, did you? Okay, I thought you looked
Yeah.
familiar. All right.
You passed each other in the really good cafeteria you guys have.
Oh yeah, 2 years ago,
Yeah.
before COVID.
My undergrad degree is also in biology, and I'm not in the biology field. So
Oh,
anything.
that's super unusual.
This
Can't
is
say I
very
recommend that path, but it worked out for at least 3 of us. So
Yeah.
It did. I think the main thing about that, takeaway from that, is just following your interests and passions as you go. Like, it's kind of intimidating trying to pick something when you're 18 years old to major in. But just being open-minded, being willing to learn always, and being adaptable will help you get you to where you need to be. So a lot of us study biology and are now in technology, but just, taking our education and where it needs to go, whatever's meant to be will be, right? Love it. So there are some people that are listening to this, and Waldo actually mentioned you could start learning about this right now if you want. What's your advice for a student who is curious to pursue a career in IT? Waldo, we'll go to you first since you're off mute.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. So yeah, if you're interested in this stuff, start now. Like, there are so many online resources. You don't need to go to college. You don't need to, so I don't like to tell kids in school you don't need to go to college, but like that's the reality of the situation. I can pretty much work at any company I want to at this point, and they don't care if I have a college degree. They care, it's very result driven. They care about if I can do the job and if I'm a nice person to work with. That's like the 2 main factors that comes into consideration when they're hiring candidates. And if you're curious about this stuff, you can go online and learn this stuff. HTML, CSS, JavaScript. There's millions of courses out there. So much content. Just learn the stuff, learn the basics, and you can start building little websites at home in your free time. You guys have a lot of free time. Enjoy being a kid, but if you guys start now, by the time you're in high school, you can do like freelance work and be earning money, a lot more than you'd be earning working at an entry-level job at like McDonald's or something. And that's just if you enjoy learning new stuff, and if you don't mind being behind a computer for the majority of your day, and we're all on Zoom right now, it's just kind of the direction the world's moving, then you'll pick this stuff up really quickly. Anyone can do it.
Thank you. How about you, Kyle? What's your advice for someone interested?
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, everybody has their interests. Everybody has things that they're curious about. And the biggest thing is to just, keep up with that and to get hands-on experience and see where that takes you. Looking back, I see, how everything led me to where I am now, and everything, it started small. It started from an interest, and it started from, an entry-level position for me, and it's moved from there. So do whatever you can do to get involved and get hands-on experience.
Thank you. Logan?
Yeah, I would say this is a field that just really seems to reward like genuine interest. The people that I've worked with that tend to also tinker with technology outside of work, that just genuinely really like what they do, tend to be the people that are the best to work with, in my opinion anyway. So I would say, yeah, true that you don't necessarily need college to get into the IT field. We just had a high school intern here, so that's another thing you can look into to get some experience hands-on. But other than that, there's so much you can do at home. You could, if you're interested in security, there's things like Hack the Box or the Holiday Hack Challenge, some online things that'll teach you a little bit about the InfoSec world and about hacking. And if you are more interested in like infrastructure, you could look up how to set up a home lab, and with pretty modest equipment, you can have a really cool little home lab that you can mess around with and do a lot of cool stuff just all on your own. So I think if you're the kind of person who likes to just mess around with technology in your free time anyway, definitely consider IT as a career, because there's so much out there. And if you've got that genuine interest, you'd be a person who would be good at it.
For sure. Thank you. That also actually made me think too, because technology is in every single business, there actually are people who work in IT that aren't necessarily the most technically savvy individuals. It's an entire business function that supports the whole business. So, I mean, you think about marketing people, marketing is so integrated in technology now. They might have more of an art vision and creative mindset, but they're working directly with IT to the point where they're put in the IT department. I'm sure Waldo works with some of those people sometimes, since he's putting out fashion, stuff, right? And just also, like, even from like a psychology perspective, thinking about like user experience, like someone is sitting there trying to think about what somebody's, experience is going to be using that technology product. And also like project management. I know that a lot of people do like an MIS degree, which is management information systems, which is a lot more on the business side of thinking, but that's a huge thing in IT. So maybe if you're not playing with computers, but you embrace and appreciate technology, you could find yourself in an IT department one day. So thank you all for sharing your thoughts on those questions that I asked. I actually saw that a little bit ago. There was a question in the chat that we can address. And if anybody else has more questions for Waldo, Kyle, and Logan, let us know. But we do have a student question that is, with technology changing so fast, how do you keep up with changes? Do you go to trainings or just figure it out with the people you work with? If each of you want to answer that. Waldo, you want to go first?
Oh yeah, I'd love to answer that. And like web development especially, it's changing so rapidly. Every day there's new APIs, frameworks, libraries, technologies out there. It's changing on a daily basis. And that's why each of us has said, like, if you don't enjoy learning new things, you might want to consider doing something else, because you're going to have to constantly learn or you're going to fall behind. And the best software developers enjoy doing this stuff in their free time. They enjoy building stuff and learning and keeping up with this stuff outside of work as well. And yeah, we would use the same resources you guys would use, and that's YouTube, Medium, which sends like articles out, and I read that on a daily basis to stay up to date with everything. And I'm always working on side projects and things like that. It can be exhausting to keep up with that stuff sometimes, especially if you have interests outside of work. If you have other hobbies, and if you're interested, like, sports or golf or whatever, it can be hard sometimes to spend 8 hours a day doing your job and then spend another 4 hours learning a new technology. So sometimes it's hard to find that work-life balance, but I don't have to work 8 hours a day either. I can sometimes get my work done in 4 hours and then spend 4 hours learning something else. So the flexible lifestyle helps to compensate with that as well. And I spend a lot of time learning on the job as well as I'm doing stuff. Being on the cutting edge of web development, you have to figure out how to do a lot of this stuff for yourself. And that's really fun and exciting. And it's part of what gets me out of bed every day, So it's a double-edged sword.
I love it. What about you, Logan?
I think there's maybe a surprising amount of figure it out as you go with your coworkers. You would, I don't know, maybe you wouldn't, but it's maybe surprising to some people how much time IT professionals spend on Google in any given workday. It's important to realize that you don't have to know everything. It's great to know some things really well, but we've all been talking this whole time about how broad of a field it is, and it's just, you can't know it all, and that's okay. So yeah, just really leaning on Google, YouTube, learn, like I said before, people that have the genuine interest outside of work tend to be the people that really excel, because you're learning some of these things in your off time. And depending on where you work, I know where I'm at, they're pretty good about giving us training. So we'll get to go off to do some kind of training and maybe get a certification on a yearly basis. So there's a lot of different ways to learn, and you just kind of figure the rest out as you go.
That's how life is, isn't it?
If I could trail off what Logan said, like, yeah, it's a large part of my job is just figuring stuff out, and half of it is just Googling, knowing how to ask questions on Google, because you're not going to know everything. You just can't. So being able to find what you need to know is more important.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many new technologies that just haven't even existed for a significant amount of time. So there's just a lot of things where, well, I can't find any Google results. I guess this is something that not a lot of people have done. I'm just going to figure it out, you know. So it's, you never really know. It just depends on the problem you have to solve in the moment, how you approach it, and how you keep up with learning about it.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. How about you, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, just to reiterate what the other guys have said, I mean, things do change quickly in this field. And we have a lot of information at our fingertips, just from this computer that I'm sitting in front of right here. The information a lot of times is out there, but finding the right information and knowing how to use it is where that experience comes in. We do have vendors that we work with that provide a lot of information along with training as well. And we have a small group here at Optavise, but it's a very diverse group. We've got a lot of different backgrounds, and we do rely on our coworkers quite a bit. If you get into a situation where there's something going on that you're trying to find the root cause of, you bounce it off of the people around you, and you pull all the resources together.
Thank you. I did have another question come through, which is fun to think about, because we don't always get to touch on these things when we're talking about your journeys and career paths in IT. You started somewhere, you got here, but what about where you're going to go next? What are your future ideas? And knowing that, technology could be anything, we'll be interested to hear. Waldo, you can go first. We already know that you just got a shift in what you were doing, but what do you see in your future with IT? What's your crystal ball?
I think the future has a lot of potential. I like it. Like, I could go in a lot of different directions, and that is part of the beauty of this job and the nature of this industry. The staying on top of what's happening, all the new developments happening in the industry is a little bit exhausting, and it can be. So I think as I get older, I'd want to move into management or something. But right now, I'm really spending a lot of time in passion projects and side projects, and seeing what happens as a result from that stuff. We got like an NFT project, a couple apps I'm working on with some friends. So the goal is to become successful with one of those, and hopefully can support my lifestyle with a side project, and providing some kind of service that helps a lot of people, and allows me the ability to not have to work 8 hours a day. So that's the goal.
Love it. Thank you. How about you, Logan?
Yeah, I think maybe I'm weird in this instance where I don't really have like a 5-year plan. I have throughout my career just kind of tried to focus on doing what I'm doing as best I can while just keeping an eye open for opportunities. It's served me well so far. I guess one of the newer things I've been working on, I mentioned I think briefly before, is the automated response to security incidents. So we would get an alert about something, and rather than a person having to look up information from 5 or 6 different sources, I could automate pulling that information into one place and make things just a lot quicker to go through those alerts and free up time for more exciting projects. So I've really enjoyed the automation aspect. I think I could see myself leaning into that, but yeah, mostly just trying to do as well as I can at what I'm doing and see what pops up.
For sure. That also makes me think, Waldo mentioned that he could be interested in going into management one day. Not everybody does that. You don't always just go into a career and climb a ladder. A lot of people just really enjoy what they do and find growth within that. And not necessarily everyone wants to manage someone either. So it's good to have a little bit of both. We need people who want to do that and people who might not. So that's interesting to think about. Thank you both for sharing that. How about you, Kyle? What are you envisioning?
Yeah, I mean, the same. I don't have a lot of long-term goals. My focus currently is on my current role and obtaining as much information as I can to be the best at what I'm currently doing. As we dive more into cybersecurity with our clients, that is something that is interesting to me, and the future may find me there. But my focus is to do what it is that I'm here to do to the best of my ability.
Love it. Thank you. And that is actually it from the submitted questions. So I'm not sure if Brian wants to say anything, but just want to thank all three of you for spending time with us today and sharing about your IT journeys. It's so helpful to just be a student and be young and be able to hear from people who are actually doing it, especially if you're already curious. And there might be actually people too watching that weren't before and might be once they found out you make a lot of money and can kind of do whatever you want. That might be their style. So we appreciate you sharing all of your insights and perspectives and experiences with everyone. As I mentioned before, technology is in every single, even though we're in industry ourselves, we're in every single industry. So you will definitely stumble upon IT people if you don't become one yourself throughout your career. And I just want to thank you all for being with us. Does anyone have any thoughts?
And just real quick, I just want to remind everyone that we did this panel today because it's Computer Science Education Week, and that is an annual call to action to get students in K through 12 exposed to and thinking about careers in computer science and IT and just entering the world of tech. So a special thanks to Kyle, Waldo, and Logan, and especially you, Kaitlin, for being our moderator and Technology First, for being a leader in this space. But I'm going to ask that question again, Kaitlin, that Kaitlin just asked. Kyle, Waldo, Logan, any last words, any specific things that a student that just watched this should think about or be mindful of as they finish out this panel?
I'll speak to that. There's technology that we encounter every day. And I guarantee there's something out there that you pass by and it just catches your attention, and maybe you roll with that and it lands you somewhere in the IT field.
Thank you, Kyle. Waldo, Logan, any last words for the students watching this, I guess, in the future?
I'll speak and give Logan some time to think. I think, just staying open-minded to opportunities, because it is a very diverse field, and there's a lot of different directions you can go into it and ways you can get into it. But if you are interested in it, if you like building stuff, if you like thinking logically with if and else statements, this kind of like web development, software development, that'll come really naturally to you. And you don't have to wait until you turn like 16 years old to start working. That was a big thing for me. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to start earning money. I wanted to start working. I wanted to start like buying my own stuff. And I was always told I was too young, or I had to wait, I couldn't do anything yet. You guys are in a unique position. You're digital natives as opposed to digital immigrants. You're growing up with the wealth of the world's information in your pocket on your iPhone. You can go online, learn how to write code to do whatever you need to do and build the next TikTok, Instagram, whatever. Like you guys can start working on that stuff, and it'll open up a lot of doors for you. And I think the direction the world's going, pretty much every industry is going to require you to stay open-minded and to continuously learn stuff. So,
Thank you, Waldo. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Logan. To all the students at home that were watching this in class or had it assigned to them, thank you for watching, and we hope that you all have bright, successful careers in any in-demand industry, but we hope you consider computer science and IT. Thanks everybody for watching, and we appreciate it today.